Hey guys, welcome to the second video of our series on the UK target border operating model. I'm excited to present it to you. My name is Arnie Milken. Great to see you. Well, hopefully you've checked out yesterday's video already. This gave you the introduction and the timeline, and the reason why, and the government questions and all of that good stuff. If you haven't seen that, please pause this recording right now, watch that first, and then come back here, right? Because it gives the essential information that you need before you start. Today's video is all about SPS controls, really geeky subject, but so important because it concerns all our food, our feed, the plants, the live animals, all of that we eat, that we consume, that we enjoy. All of that, when imported into the UK, needs to undergo regulatory control, and I'll break down what the future of the UK import SPS controls for the EU and the whole world is going to be. You ready? Let's go. Just up here. This is about biosecurity, SPS controls, and veterinary certificates. It is your essential debrief if you're an importer, an exporter, customs manager, customs professional, agent, or advisor. So you're hopefully one of those, then this is exactly what you should be watching. Don't forget, this is part of a larger YouTube live stream event series that runs in the middle of April. So yesterday was the live stream for introduction, summary, timeline, and questions. Today is biosecurity. Tomorrow, safety and security declarations. Thursday, UK single trade window. Friday, what about the vision, the big one for the most effective border in the world? This premieres every day at 9 a.m. British Standard Time, 10 a.m. in the European Union. And you can always watch and catch up on all of these videos on our YouTube channel. So just go there, check out the videos, and subscribe, and you will never miss anything important on customs and global trade. So what about this SPS thing? Well, the first thing we need to understand is this is all part of a bigger picture, the biological security strategy. This talks about risks, the risk to the UK's biological security and how they're dealt with. It's recognized that one of the most serious risks associated with problems today are disease outbreaks. And this obviously will have a huge impact on society, economy, environment, and animal and plant diseases. They spread, and once they're in a country, they're difficult to control. So prevention is better than cure. So you want to make sure that they don't even make it into the UK. There are different tools that the UK has for biosecurity. One's pre-notifications, 2 is the health certification, and 3 is physical inspection. And this is what we call sanitary and phytosanitary border checks. So sanitary more towards the animal fauna, and then biosanitary is phytosanitary is more about the plants, the flora. And as I said, there are these 3 tools, generally speaking, and they are pre-notification, health certification, and physical inspection. Pre-notification, that allows the officials to take action prior to entry or at places to entry, and it lets them identify those consignments that are particularly most at risk. Then the health certificates, that requires an approved official, a veterinary officer, for example, in the country of export to confirm that the goods have been made according to the standards set by the UK, the importing country, and they will use paper documents at the moment to certify the health of the product coming. So pre-notifications first, and this health certification is the second part, and the third is physical inspection, which usually happens at the border at a control post, the border control post, BCP, and it lets the health officials check the goods and then check that they match the certification. They look at worrying trends in non-compliance. They can even take laboratory analysis, test samples, etc., to make sure that these pests and diseases are not coming in. This has operated under EU rules before Brexit and also for a period after Brexit. Not officially EU rules, but UK retained EU law formally. We don't need to go there. What we need to understand is the new SPS model. And in a nutshell, and I know I'm simplifying, if you are an expert in this or you are an official watching this, you're thinking, God, Arnie, what are you doing? It is a summary, right? So the 3 things we need to think about are: there's a new global risk-based approach. Secondly, the simplification there with digitalized health certificate. And there's the use of what? Trust. Can you believe that? Trust. I trust you. That's very cool. The government actually trusts you. Is that good? I think so. So if you want to say it in different words, the 3 top priorities: a risk-based targeted approach to official border controls and imports of all regimes, pilots of trusted trader assurance schemes. So now we're moving into more details on the trust thing, right? So there's a trusted trader assurance scheme, and that's only a pilot, right? So just beware. So, and this pilot that should then provide credible evidence that this trade facilitation that is then rewarded for your efforts to be compliant is merited. And then overall simplification and digitalization that makes best use of the data available. A key component of this is risk. So we will put sanitary and phytosanitary goods into groups of risk based on high, medium, and low risk that they pose to animal health and welfare, food safety, biosecurity, as well as risks related to the uniqueness of the country of import. Country A may have really strict SPS controls, therefore the risk of animal disease may be lower. Country B may be a bit more lax about it, so the risk is higher. It does matter whether a product has been very much processed, so therefore killed off all bacteria that could possibly go in there, or whether it's freshly cut, and therefore subject to all the bacteria flying onto fresh meat cuts, unless it is properly stored and temperature controlled. So the amount of controls that you're going to get is then dependent on the risk and as well as the situation in country, right? Is there a African swine flu currently circulating in this country? If yes, that's a different matter than if there is none, right? And you want to import pork, for example. So we've got these high, medium, low risk. And I know you want to know which products are in each category, and you want to check if your product's concerned. Well, the unfortunate news is it's not yet fully defined, but the direction of travel is pretty clear, and here you see it. So if you're in the raw, chilled, or frozen meat or meat products business, for example, or dairy, so milks, etc., you will most likely end up in the medium category. If you're doing very highly processed stuff like pasta, for example, or dried or highly processed stuff, pasta now I should say, canned meat products, for example, then you may end up in processed in the low category. But again, it will all depend also on the country that is coming from. So high, medium, and low risk, depending on where you are in, you will have different sets of controls. And of course, it gets more complicated when you combine different products from different categories, because you may have a lorry with fresh meat and then next to it is canned meat. Well, if that happens, then you have different controls. So it's a bit problematic. We should say that this future SPS system has other components to it as well. So there's the risk part, high, medium, low categorization, and there is the trusted trader scheme, which kind of overlays the whole thing, an assessment of importer compliance in the case of trusted trader schemes. And then there's implementation, data, and control. So we look at the data that is provided, as well as then the physical control. So it's the combination of the 3: risk, trusted trader, and implementation that matters here. Now, again, who am I not to reuse and repurpose things that have already been prepared for me? If you want the summary of all of this, as we keep these videos short, please screenshot this and look at it carefully. Go from left to right. It's pretty self-explanatory. It has a traffic light system of red, yellow, green, and it tells you kind of what kind of products we're talking about. It also tells you what the indicative check range are, and if something is 00, then that's usually pretty good. And by the way, we're not only talking about animals and animal products here, we're talking about plants as well. And then we have plans for planting, we have plans for planting that are different from the other ones. And we have, yeah, well, look, you can see it here, and you can see the various checks that are supposed to be happening when this model goes live. I want to focus now on simplification and digitalization of health certificate. And the reason that is because this is really the first thing that's going to go and hit us. On the 31st of October, we're going to introduce the first range of certificates that we need to then use and submit to the government. So this is for medium risk animal products, certain or most plant products as well. And we're expecting this to be paper-based because the digital format is not available yet. And that should happen at the end of April 2023. So from today, it'll happen like next week or the week after. The week after. So we'll see if that happens. So we'll look at it and we'll report back on that then. And so this is a certificate for animal products, or products of animal origin, wild products. That's the most important right now because the date of implementation is the 31st of October. So it's literally around the corner. It's not a lot of summer and a holiday break to be had here. And then, of course, the rest of the world partners will then also be using these kind of health certificate eventually once we completed the EU rollout. So EU rollout goes first, then rest of the world comes next. The key word here is simplified. New and simplified export health certificates. So we'll see what this is all about. Simplification's always great. If you look at the EU system that we've been using, there's Latin names required. There's lots of details that is required. The UK says we can streamline that. We can simplify that. Let's see. Okay. Digitalization of certificate will allow for the necessary details to be cloned from the official certificate produced in the exporting country IT systems such as Traces in the EU. That's a big thing. If we can reuse the data that we've already put into Traces for other purposes, we can reuse this in the UK, then that would be really, really helpful. And then you can also have these certificates be automatically available to GB systems. So rather than the driver having to carry a physical stamped signed original certificate with you that you need to show to a border official, it can be accessed digitally by anyone. And this is such a big help. I can't even tell you how much help this would be. Okay, so this is super. And the official veterinarian, once they have digitally authorized the thing, can then upload it onto the GB systems, and then it's available for all border force staff, etc., and veterinarians as needed. And what's really great is that you don't need any third-party software for this, so this keeps the costs down as well. But don't hold your horses yet. In order for this to happen, a lot of people need to talk to each other. A lot of systems need to be updated. So this is not yet there, and it may only come in October 2024, which probably means 2025. Another focus of the whole thing is the trusted traders. The third part, if you kind of follow the gist that I had before, is this trusted trade, right? The trusted trader program. So is it really true that you're going to trust me? And then I get the green lane. I get to move all of my animal products into the UK with minimal checks. Is that really what you're saying? That would be really, really nice. Now, what the government's actually saying for trusted trade to take place, first, let us prove the concept. So we're going to have some pilots. We're going to see if this works. So we're going to explore whether this can happen or not. And it is for the industry to demonstrate that this can work. And what the UK has decided is we're going to have trusted trader schemes. Now, they are not the same as the AEO scheme. So we have different schemes, and they're called ATT, TAS, and AOS, and there may be others, but the ones they're thinking about right now is the Accredited Trusted Trader Scheme, and that's for those that import animal products regularly. Then we have the Technology Assurance Scheme, TAS. This is the ones that works with the ecosystem of trust, which is this advanced form of running the border by secure lanes where data can be trusted, has been verified. And if the data can be trusted, well, then I don't need anybody else to do anything because the data is correct. And why would I need to check anything at the border if I know that the data is correct? So, but for that, you need an ecosystem of trust and you need a TAS, which I am assuming means that the data connection and the data accuracy is assured, and that on each point of where data is inputted, it's also correct. And then we have the authorized operator status for plants. So lots of different names. I wonder if they could have simplified that a little bit by calling it POW Trusted Trader Scheme or Plants Trusted Trader Scheme. Yeah, it's like, You want to know how this is going to work, you can have a look at this. This goes into the single window idea already, but it basically means that you have one portal where you're going to do your applications for your various trusted trader authorizations. And then it doesn't really matter if you have 1, 2, or 3, all goes into this one portal and is managed with department systems via one platform. So you apply for the plant version, it goes to DEFRA's plant agency, they approve it, boom, goes back to you, and so on. So all this interaction happens with one point of contact, and that means it doesn't really matter how many trusted trader authorizations you have because they're all managed from one point. It does, of course, matter if you need to reapply for everything and the process and procedures. That's a whole different matter. Point is, trusted trader pilots are being run out. If you want to rolled out, if you want to be part of it and you think you could benefit from it, do get in touch with the government. Get in touch with us as well if you want any support on that. There are lots of other matters that we would need to be talking about that we don't have time to talk about in this video, but we may make subsequent videos, such as what about the risk categories? Can we be more specific about this? Is it only the country and the type of product that determine the risk category? Is the impact of the trusted trader system so that when a product was in a medium risk category, by me being a trusted trader, I can move it down to green? Probably not, but can we have more details on what the impact actually is on this trusted trader system? How is that going to benefit me? And then, of course, what does it mean for my food feed plans? The plans that I have, exactly, can you break down if I have pasta, what I need to do? If I have a hamburger, what I need to do? That kind of stuff. Lots of challenges with groupage. Now, if you're into groupage, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, then please, we'll have to make another video on it, because it is a big thing when you consolidate cargo in a third country and then you try to bring various goods of different risk statuses into the UK. That is pretty messy. Transit, I haven't talked about them. Transit at all, very important, of course, because the risk level is different if you are just transiting through the UK. Re-export, important, and of course other things like CITES, timber, and organic food. All of these things matter. Now, please, there's much more detail that I could be talking about, but again, how can I keep it short if I don't, and clear if I don't stop it now? Government questions that the government wants you to answer. Consider this: the impact of the new sanitary and phytosanitary goods regime on your supply chain. Can you please let us know? What about the business model? Does the business model impacted? Would you like to take part in a pilot on trusted trader schemes? If you do, can you please kind of let us know how, why, and can we just include you? If there may be any operational difficulties, group pitch, then please get in touch, is what they're saying. And any other changes you would like us to make, please let them know. The window of comment is short. As I've said, get in touch if you want us to help you with the submission, or we can even submit on your behalf. Wow, that was a lot. Hey, I hope I was able to give you a flavor of what these controls are. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. I'll be really interested to find out what you think about this whole new approach to UK border controls. I'll see you tomorrow at the next video, same time, same place. Can't wait.